In 1970, Richard Milhouse Nixon, the President of the United States, put into effect the Controlled Substance Act of 1970, a law which changed the face of the drug culture in the United States forever. The creation of this act, however, threw a wrench in the wheels of capitalism and put a halt to this market by banning drugs. The only thing that really happened in 1970 was Richard Nixon, in a sense, made the pot market adapt rather than disappear altogether. Thus, marijuana became what is known as the black market.
Here, that's $80.
$80?
Yeah, $80.
Yo, this is worth 40 tops, bro.
Before we get into black markets, you must first understand the basic supply and demand graph. In supply and demand, two sloped lines are needed to understand the fundamental economics behind a product. The demand curve is a negatively sloped line because as price increases, quantity decreases. And the supply curve is a positively sloped line. The point at which these two lines converge is called the market equilibrium. This point is also known as the market clearing price and quantity.
What kind of hippie are you?
What kind of hippie am I, man? I'm a business hippie. I understand the concept of supply and demand.
Black markets come into existence when a price ceiling or maximum price is placed on a good, or when legislation is passed that makes a certain item or good illegal. The definition of a black market is any market where goods are bought and sold illegally.
When a price ceiling is placed on a good, there will be a decrease in the quantity of the goods supplied because some producers will not be able to make a profit. When a decrease in supply and price occurs, a much higher demand for the product comes into existence. To compensate for this high demand, which cannot be met by the low quantities supplied by the market, a black market comes into existence, selling the good at a higher price than that of the old market equilibrium price. When dealing with the specific black market of marijuana, we will assume the price that the government has set on this good is zero, since it is illegal and not to be sold or bought. This will give us a graph with a supply curve running along the y-axis and meeting the demand curve somewhere on the axis.
Since marijuana use and possession is illegal, many people think, why take the risk?
Littering.
Officer, that's not ours.
The marginal benefits of using or selling marijuana outweighs the marginal cost of dealing with the drug. For some people, the marginal cost of having anything to do with marijuana is higher than the benefits, so they simply choose not to use it. Others calculate a point at which they would choose not to deal with the drug anymore due to costs. To determine this point, the user must look at his benefits of using the drug more.
Littering and... Littering and...
Littering and...
This slide shows what must be taken into account in this process. If the benefits of continued or increased marijuana use outweigh the costs, the user will keep using it. If the costs exceed the benefits, the user will cut back their use or stop altogether.
Littering and smoking the reefer.
With the use of marijuana comes the issue of whether it creates a positive, negative, or inframarginal externality on society.
Possession of 660 pounds of marijuana with intent to distribute. How do you plead?
An externality is an impact on a party not directly involved in a decision. This usually comes about when private costs diverge from social costs.
I don't feel that what I've done is a crime. And I think it's illogical and irresponsible for you to sentence me to prison. Because when you think about it, what did I really do? I crossed an imaginary line with a bunch of plants.
We are going to focus on inframarginal and negative externality. Small-scale use and supply is an inframarginal externality because there's little impact on third parties. However, when the weed market moves to a larger scale of drug running and smuggling, a negative externality is created.
Gosh, you know, your concepts are really interesting, Mr. Young.
Thank you.
Unfortunately for you, the line you crossed was real, and the plants you brought with you were illegal, so your bail is $20,000.
The externality created by this is negative because the drug game is usually violent. Very violent. The larger the scale, the more violence there is, which leads to having a larger effect on the community at large. These are the externalities associated with marijuana. Despite government interference in the marketplace, marijuana still found its way back into the public's hands through the use of black markets.
The fact of the matter is, when a good becomes outlawed or the government tries to make legislation to restrict the
market will find a way to satisfy the demands of the consumers in one way or another. In marijuana's case, a black market was formed.
A recent study has shown over 43% of Americans have tried marijuana at least once. It's everywhere, in the movies, TV, music, and the media. Despite government legislation, it's arguable to say that marijuana is just as popular now as it ever was. And thanks for watching.